Welcome to The Circle of Trust, honest insights and proven strategies for predictable law firm growth.
Welcome back to Circle of Trust, honest insights and proven strategies for predictable law firm growth. The podcast where ambitious law firms learn how to grow with confidence, clarity, and consistency. I'm Evan Mack here with Keith Dyer, law firm CMO and founder of Let's Grow. Keith helps practices across the country move beyond referrals and guesswork to build real, sustainable systems for growth. On this show, we get honest about what works, what doesn't, and what your firm needs to do next. No fluff, no hype, just proven strategies and straight talk that help you scale without losing your mind or your values. Let's get into it. Welcome back, Keith.
Hey, thanks for having me. Good to see you again.
Absolutely. So this is, do you really need to advertise? The truth about law firm marketing spend. First things first, Keith, what are some signs that a firm is rushing into ads before they're even ready?
I think one is you don't know what your conversion rate is off of the calls that are coming into the firm now. If you don't know how well you're answering the phones, then it's difficult to know when you should start marketing. You should have a good conversion rate off of the calls that you get. That can vary depending upon practice area or in different circumstances. But so I don't have any specific advice on percentage at this time, but we'll talk about that maybe another time. But definitely want to make sure that you're getting that the calls that you're getting, you're converting the best that you possibly can. And you can only do that by listening to the calls and knowing that you have the right people. I would definitely do that before you start doing a lot of marketing.
How do you find the right people to be in this position, to be able to have that empathy, to be able to have that understanding when they get those calls?
Well, I think you have to know what you're looking for. You've got to, and you can find these folks in different industries, but oftentimes former law enforcement are good intake folks. You just got to know like what kind of person you're looking for, and to be able to look. It's like any hire. They're not always going to be great, but you got to have a specific person that you're looking for that possesses the kind of qualities that you're looking for.
What are some early indicators that a firm isn't ready to, for paid advertising?
It could be a revenue thing.
Okay.
I think, you want to look at your revenue, where you are with your annual revenue, and that will give you an idea how much money you should be spending on marketing and how you can scale that up. So I would be looking at that. So like if you're a $0 to $1 million a year revenue firm, your marketing plan is going to be different, and how you spend that money is going to be different than if you're a $3 to $5 million a year law firm. So you would spend less on branding as a smaller firm, but you would still not want to ignore it. You would want to find ways to build your brand that were efficient and connected with the community. As you grow larger, your branding will get bigger because you have more money to pump into it. It's a longer term play. And that's sort of the scaling of the firm, right? Is you begin in digital, you begin making sure you've got a great intake system and you've got good operations. You start growing, making more money, getting more referrals to the things that you're doing. And then your revenue increases and your budget changes and it increases. That's the path.
So it's how do you help firms strengthen their core before adding paid campaigns on top?
Well, I think there's just going to have to be an understanding within the firm itself and within the operations that things are working the way they should. The lawyers and the operations folks will know more about the core offering of what they're doing and how well they're able to process the cases in an efficient manner. But that would need to be evaluated before you would do marketing, start off with marketing.
Can you simplify a way for lawyers and how they're supposed to think about an ROI or return on an ad spend?
To simplify it, I would say that ROI can oftentimes be delayed.
Yeah.
And then you can't improve what you aren't measuring. So you've got to put things in place that you're measuring that will help you understand how you're converting off different channels, or how you're converting off a single channel, or how well the firm's converting in general.
Throughout your career, do you have an example, that you could walk us through where ads did work, you know what I mean? And do you know why they worked?
Your ads will work if they're hitting the right target audience with the right message, right?
Okay.
So that's the key piece. And you understand just the basics of building ads, whether they're TV ads or billboards or whatever. You understand the converting factors off of this, the conversion mentally on the brand, right? If it's not a direct response thing, that's what the example of an ad, like ads that have to have certain elements in them for them to convert at all, right? So if you've got that out there, you'll know that it's working because your intake department will tell you, because they should be asking people when they call they heard about you. There should be a whole protocol of questions. You'll also just have like what I call the rising tide effect. Lawyers don't care about marketing. It's a cog in the wheel, right? It's part of what you have to do. But if you can figure that part out, then you're going to be the most successful probably in your industry because you're the best marketer. The best marketers typically win. But what law firms really want are cases. So you have to see at the rising tide, whenever you're adding things and trying things, you've got to keep practicing and what the right mix is. It's not going to get, you're not going to get lucky enough probably right off the bat to have the mix down perfectly. It's going to depend. Who are you appealing to now? Like when you go and you look at your caseload, who is hiring you now? Look at that and then build your marketing backwards to that and go, okay, let's appeal more to those kinds of people and the channels that they're watching or where they're buying things. And let's push into that and try to get more conversions out of that segment of the population. So marketing is interesting. It's it's science, it's art, it's math, it's everything. But the people that master it, the Colonel Sanders, the Ray Krocs, the Nikes, the people that master it become huge.
Yeah.
Because they just know what they're doing. There are other factors, of course, that are in that mix. But as an example of a firm that I've seen it work is, I work with a firm here in Wilmington, North Carolina, that we've grown from, 1 to 3 million in revenue. When I got here, kind of fluctuated, and we'll probably hit 12 million by the end of this year, and that's been 3 or 4 years.
Incredible.
Yeah, it is, and I mean it's really like, I hate to say this, but it's kind of like the Patriot way, right? Are you a football fan? Yeah, so
Right.
like it really is the basics, man. Like people you get really good at the basics and stop chasing shiny objects. You've got a system and you trust the system and you work within it. Then that's the people that are successful. But that's difficult for some people because of what I talked about before is the delayed ROI that can come from marketing. Sometimes branding takes a while to really kick in. If you're new to a market, for example, and no one's ever heard of you, and you start putting up ads, your brand is not going to be built immediately. It takes a long time. That's why you really want to have a firm that's in place in a market, and then expand from that market to other markets, right? You don't want to try to go to a whole bunch at one time.
I want to make sure everybody's clear. You're not a Patriot guy because I don't want your brand to be suffering after the
I admire them, their organization for their winning that they did.
Absolutely.
But I'm not a fan. I mean, I don't dislike them either. They're kind of.
But I know what you mean. Just know the method and how they went about their.
That's right. That's right. I mean, every great organization has that, right? They have their methods, and so you need to create the methods for your organization, your law firm, your team, whatever.
But on the flip side, what are some of the common ad pitfalls you see? Is it overspending? Is it spending on the wrong type of ads? Like what are a couple of pitfalls that you might have seen throughout your career?
Yeah, I mean, the pitfalls are relying on the wrong people to get, you don't have good hires, or people don't know how to build law firms, and they're really good at social media, or maybe they're really good at pay-per-click, but they're the marketing manager that's in charge of the whole thing. And I'm like, that doesn't work. You've got to have a strategy with people that know what they're doing. And some lawyers are really great at creating their own strategy.
Okay.
So I've seen that before too. That's what I think about that. Yeah.
We talked about it on a different episode, the importance of generating leads and those leads and how paramount they are to what you do and what people do. But what if a firm is not ready for ads? What are their better first steps to even generate those leads? Because what if they can't generate those leads?
Yeah, that's a good question. So you're going to have to get out, especially if you're like a young person that's getting out of law school. You want to get out there and build a bit of a reputation for yourself. You're a great lawyer, and you are involved in the community and people see you and they recognize you. You got that baseline. Your kids are going to school with their kids, et cetera. You build that community level, branding, PR, that kind of thing. I would put that into place. That's, you're either going to have to spend money or time. And when you're young, you're going to have the time, right? So that's what I would do is if it were me personally coming out of law school or starting my own firm, I would make sure that I had that really strong network. I was doing good work for people. You're going to have to be patient. It's not going to come to you immediately unless you have tons of money to go out there and sink into it, which when you're young, most people don't.
Does advertising and word of mouth go hand in hand? Do you feel one begets the other, or is you know what I mean? Like, what? How do you get word of mouth when we're first starting out, as opposed to advertising? Because no, my one friend, he looks really he really like thanks his word of mouth for getting his CPA business with his brother off the ground. But before he didn't have word of mouth. You know what I mean? So like he had to do advertising. So do you think they both can work together, or do you think one works better than the other? What's your opinion on that?
Okay, so word of mouth when you're first starting out, I would do the things I just mentioned. I would just sink into my community. I would sponsor all the football games and basketball games because those are
Ah,
cheap things that you can do.
okay.
I would be at the games. I would wear a nice looking suit all the time. I would create my personal brand. I would be doing some social media, cheap, inexpensive stuff to just get your
Right.
name out there, right? And build off of that. Be a bit of a socialite. Network with the parents of your kids, their parents, and the friendships and things of that nature. That's the word of mouth I would generate if you were, just getting started. However, to talk about how they work hand in hand, once you go out there and start building your marketing and you got that kind of thing in place, it's just going to multiply that, right? Because we're only what is it, 3 degrees of separation from people? What is it, 6 degrees of
Yeah,
separation?
7 degrees, whatever the Kevin Bacon thing,
Yeah.
whatever.
In other words, especially in a little town or a decent sized community, right? Within a big city too can work. You know, these people, they know these people. And then it becomes after a while, you're the logical choice without them ever going and searching because you're sinking money into marketing,
Right.
ads, they're converting, getting people into the intake department. It's converting. You're doing a great job. They're going out and becoming little marketers that know these people that know those people. And that's just a big like sphere of influence that you create. And that's how it all works together.
What if you're like an antisocial person? You know what I mean? What if you're afraid, or crowds make you nervous, events make you nervous. You know you're good at what you do, but you know what I mean? Like that stuff kind of worries you. How would you navigate that if you haven't any
It's going to
way?
be harder for you. It is. It's going to be harder. So, what I would do is to hire people around me that could help me.
Mm,
Maybe you hire a person that's good at going out and doing those things and shaking hands for you, and maybe you keep it more on the one-on-one lunches, things like
okay.
that. It's such a hard question to answer overall
Yeah.
because there's no clear-cut way to do that. You
Okay.
kind of get into your community. I mean, if I was really shy and introverted, then maybe being a big law firm owner is not the job for you either, right?
Mm.
But if that's your ambition, then you're going to have to find people that can do what you are unable to do.
Uh, so how should firms approach budget planning for marketing spending overall?
It goes back to what we were just discussing a few minutes ago. You want to build your budget around your revenue
Okay.
levels, right? And the type of practice that you are will tell you the kinds of channels that you should be sinking into. Like, for example, immigration, you can do really well with meta ads. It does really well. If you're a personal injury lawyer, you might want to sink more of your budget into the pay per click or SEO elements, although SEO is important for every firm, every
Yeah.
business. Um, but yeah, that's what I would do. And then I would just focus on maximizing getting your share of the existing demand in the marketplace by hyper optimizing best you can your digital. So SEO, pay per click, LSA, all those things you'll want to be a presence in that area. And it's not going to be easy at first, but you want to try and do the best you can. But then also wouldn't rule out thinking outside of the box and trying some other types of marketing that could help you. Don't ignore your branding. Always have a percentage dedicated to it. But the bottom line is that over time, your marketing spend will change. The percentage that you put toward digital and traditional will change as the revenue grows in the firm. So the higher the revenue, the higher the branding, the more branding, the lower the revenue, the more direct response. It doesn't mean you stop doing the direct response or reduce the spend. It's just a change.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your information, and I appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Thanks for having me here. I appreciate it a lot.
And thank you all for tuning in to Circle of Trust. If this episode gave you clarity or sparked an idea, make sure you're following the show so you never miss a new drop. And if you're ready to build a predictable pipeline and scale your firm the smart way, head over to lexgrow.com or connect with Keith on LinkedIn and share what you've been working on. Until next time, keep growing with intention.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.